than at any one time. And whatever gaps that are still there, that still are, will be closed. So that every Ugandan, wherever he is, should feel assured that if anybody does harm to him, the doer of the harm will pay heavily. And that's why I appeal to the courts to stop the liberalism of treating with kid gloves the criminals. So I thought I should mention that. Then in the Bible, in the book of Genesis, chapter 11, it reads as follows. This is chapter 11. The Tower of Babel. Now the whole earth had one language and one speech. And it came to pass as they journeyed from the east that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. Then they said to one another, "Come, let us make bricks and bake them thoroughly." They had brick for stone, and they had asphalt for mortar. And they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower whose top is in the heavens. Let us make a name for ourselves, lest we be scattered abroad over the face of the whole earth." But the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the sons of men had built. And the Lord said, "Indeed, the people are one, and they all have one language. And this is what they begin to do. Omwenkano. Try to be like God. The Uganda calls it omwenkano. Omweringanzo. The Wanyankore call it. Now, nothing that they propose to do will be withheld from them. Come, let us go down there, confuse their language, that they may not understand one another's speech." So the Lord scattered them abroad from there over the face of all the earth, and they ceased building the city. Therefore, it is called Babel, because there the Lord confused the language of all the earth, and from there the Lord scattered them abroad over the face of the earth. Now, when people try omwenkano to be like God, okweringaniza, the Banyankore call it, okweringaniza na Ruhanga, you get bad consequences. And that's what I've come to talk to you about here. Now, some people in the world, since some centuries now, have been behaving like God, trying to be like God. God said this, for them they do the opposite, because they think they are very clever. So, what are the consequences? First of all, Corona. Where did Corona come from? It was people doing what they are not supposed to do. There are different theories. Some people say it came from the labs, the laboratories of some people who are trying to be like gods. Some people say that it came from people eating wild animals, wild creatures which should not be eaten. Banyankole call them ebihagaro, ebitaribwa, things that should not be eaten, abominable abominations, but people just eat them. Now, what is the consequence? We get Corona. I don't know, my file with the Corona, they were supposed to give me some documents on Corona, the latest. I want to find out what's happening now. Let me see now. But here we are managing. Here we are managing. Watch. Just calm down. Here we are managing that I hear that the minister is now saying the minister is telling me that in the whole world, since Corona started about 2 years ago, 561 million people, badang, obukadde bikumi bitano munkaga mukamu have been attacked by Corona, have been infected. The death, 6 million. 6.3 million. And besides this, in the last 7 days, a total of 5 million new cases have been registered in the whole world, with 260 deaths. By 10th July, the countries reporting the highest number of new cases per week were France, every week, 771,000, imagine. United States, 722,000. Italy, 661,000. Every day, No, per week, in a week. Germany, and so on. And the death in the US, 1,900, Brazil, 1,600, China, 692, Italy, 574. Somebody rang me from Italy yesterday and told me that about 100 people are dying per day in Italy from Corona. In the African region, Kenya, in 1 week, 745 cases, Rwanda 172, Uganda 368, South Africa 1,700. The situation in Uganda because you listened to my advice, to the advice of our technical team. I wouldn't say my advice, actually, because I was being guided by the technical team. We managed to control the corona. In the 2 years, 167,000 people were infected, 100. You hear that in France, in 1 week, 700,000. Here, in 2 years, 167,000. Buri muntu yene kyasiga kikyakungula. Buri muntu wene kyava nikyajesha. Whatever man sows, that's what he reaps. Because here, I told you very frankly that if we are not strict, people will die. And you have seen what has happened. And the total number of people who died in all these 2 years in Uganda, 3,626. These are people who are dying in 1 week in some of the places. Now, in Uganda here, the average number of cases increases from 20 per week between January to May 2022 to over 600 cases per week in the month of June, but has now reduced to an average of 380 per week in the month of July. Furthermore, the positivity rate steadily increased from 1% during January to May to an average of 3.3%. During the month of June, the country registered 25 deaths, most of whom were not vaccinated or if they were vaccinated but not boosted. All the deaths, irrespective of age, had associated comorbidities, which include hypertension, diabetes, heart disease, and cancer. In the last 1 week, positive cases have been reported from 24 districts. And the leading districts were Kampala, Wakiso, and Mbende, with more than 30 cases each. Districts with cases between 11 and 30 per week included Mbarara, Mtoma, Kisoro, Bundubujo, Kamwenje, and Bunyangabo. The rest of the districts have cases below 10 per week. I'm also informed that most of the cases are mild to moderate and do not require admission. However, the severe and critical cases that are admitted frequently progress to death. By yesterday, there were only 3 cases in admission, 2 in Mulago and 1 in Masaka. As I have indicated above, the positivity rate, the measure used to track the extent of transmission of the virus in the community, has remained below 5%. This means the country has averted the 4th wave because of our strong efforts to contain the epidemic through the vaccination and adherence to SOPs. Countrymen, you recall that in March 2021, we rolled out vaccination against COVID-19 as one of the major measures to provide additional protection against this virus. The COVID-19 vaccination contributes to the reduction of severe disease and death, which has been our major goal from the outset. As of today, the country has cumulatively received 47 million doses of assorted vaccines. Of these, 15.8 million are the Johnson & Johnson single-dose vaccines, while the rest, 31 million, are 2-dose vaccines. So the 31 million can vaccinate another 15 million. 15 million. The vaccines include those procured by the government, bought by the government of Uganda, and those received as donations. The country has made some progress in vaccinating the population over 18 years. In 2022, a total of 18 million had received at least one dose of any of the vaccines, and 12 million were fully vaccinated. A total of 361,000 people had received booster doses. My attention has been drawn to the 5 that are partially vaccinated, and the 4.6 million Ugandans over the 18 years of age who have not received any vaccine at all. 4.6 million have not received any vaccine. They have refused to go. 5.9 million are partially vaccinated. Only one dose. 4.6 million not vaccinated at all, and yet they should be vaccinated. And now require booster doses. Science has told us that unlike many other vaccines, the protection offered by COVID-19 vaccines reduces with time, especially after 6 to 8 months. This is the reason we advise people who completed the full vaccination to take a booster dose after 6 to 8 months. I am aware that the low uptake of vaccines and booster doses is due to fear and misinformation among the general public. I therefore direct the Right Honorable Prime Minister to work out a schedule for all ministers to go and sensitize the population as we did for the parish development model. I now call upon all Ugandans to embrace the COVID-19 vaccination to avoid unnecessary death and exorbitant costs of treatment in private health facilities that we witnessed in 2021. We are also going to start vaccinating children because some of the children have contracted corona, 14,000 of them, and even 7 of them died. 7 of them died, the children of 5 and 17. That is why it is important to get these children vaccinated, but with the consent of parents. I've directed the Minister of Health to ensure that vaccines for children are available in all health facilities so that during the holidays, parents can voluntarily take their children for vaccination. We shall begin with the vaccination of the children 12 years to 17 years. These are 6.6 million, as we plan for those between 5 and 11 years, who are 9.2 million. I'm informed that many of you have not been happy ever since we announced plans to vaccinate the Bazukuru, aged 12 to 17 years old. As you have seen, with this disease, it affects everyone, including the children. The problem with the children is they can easily pick the infection from school and bring it back to their parents and grandparents. In addition, those with comorbidities may even die. comorbidities means if you have got other sicknesses. Therefore, vaccinating the children and adolescents not only protects them, but also protects the elderly and those with comorbidities, because the children don't bring problem to their parents and grandparents, many of whom have other diseases. Since we roll out our vaccination, 971,000 children have received at least one dose of Pfizer vaccine, and 253,000 are fully vaccinated. So therefore, I am really calling everybody, the 5.9 million who have gotten one dose, go and get a second dose. Please, twegayiride genda bakugema omulundi ogwokubiri. The 4.6 million youth, the ones above 18, who have never got even a single dose, please go. And then now we start with the children now. I was in Kigali for the Commonwealth, and in the Commonwealth spirit, I almost got corona for myself. Because I was sitting with in the main meeting, I was very careful, I put on my mask. But when we went to the smaller meeting, I relaxed a bit, I removed the mask. And I was sitting with Boris Johnson here, the Prime Minister of Britain, and a man from Tuvalu. Tuvalu is a small island of 12,000 people. And the man had corona. And I sat with him for almost 1.5 hours. So when I came back, I went to Tungamo, our home there, and I self-isolated myself. They did the rapid test first, then the other one. Then I quarantined myself for, I think, like 4 or 5 days. They did the test. I had no problem. So it could be that this vaccination, because I definitely was sitting near this man, and he even spoke. He didn't cough. I didn't hear him coughing, but he spoke as part of the contribution before we knew that he had corona. But you find I was not affected. Why? For me, I think it was because of the vaccine, the vaccinations I had. That's what I think. Mom and my children, my girls, think it was God who did this and that and that. But barugereda bajajjaffe barugereda nti lubaale mbeera nembera okwotadde. God helps those who help themselves. So therefore, please get vaccinated. So corona came from omwenkanonkano, omweringanizo. Human beings trying to be like God. And you see how much trouble it has given us. We are now trying to see how to get out. And I told you very frankly how it can be done, and we did it. We did it. I don't know whether there's any country in the world which performed better than Uganda in handling this issue. Now, omwenkanonkano, climate change. God gave us the earth, put everything there. The whole system is well arranged. In the book of Genesis, very clear, When God created the earth, after some days, he said, let water separate from the dry land. And there were lakes, there were mountains, there were dry land. But umwenkanonkano, umweringanizo, umwekiro. Some people come and say God was wrong. What is water? I want to turn it into a garden. But God is the one who said that this is a Eksaru, a wetland, Ekshara. Now you come and you say, no, God was wrong. Then the use of substances which are not well checked, like the use of fossil fuels, the petroleum and all that, they generate carbon dioxide, which increases in the atmosphere. Because in 1961, when I was doing my chemistry at Ntare, I was told clearly nitrogen, I think, is 78% of the atmosphere, oxygen 21%, and I think carbon dioxide like something 2 or something %. That's what it was. But now, because of the human beings not respecting what God did, the carbon dioxide, and this carbon dioxide at Ntare, we were using it as a fire extinguisher because it is a bad conductor of heat. It suppresses heat. If you put while oxygen supports combustion, carbon dioxide puts out the fire. So more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere creates a blanket effect over us. Instead of the heat escaping to outer space, the heat is now retained because it's like you have covered yourself with the blanket. Now, this global warming, you have seen what's happening in Europe. I didn't come with the pictures here. If you had those pictures, you could show them to these Ugandans. What I've been seeing on other television, the fires in Spain, in France, in England, London, fires. If you can manage to put them here so that they see them, the fires, those countries are on fire now. Caused by the temperature in London reached 42 degrees. Kampala here has never even had 35. But London reached 42 the 2 days ago. It's so hot. All caused by what? Umwekanonkano. Umwekiro. People trying to be like God, not respecting what God has done. Now, because of that, the Banyankore say, when it is already morning, then you try to cover yourself to get warm. But you were you should have covered yourself in the early part of the night so that you sleep well. Now, these people, recently they went to a conference. I didn't go because of this corona. I refused. They wanted me to go. It was in Scotland. They said, now we must get rid of what they call the fossil fuels. Get rid of petroleum, diesel as fuel for vehicles and go to electric cars. Now, when this was passed as a declaration, the oil companies which were looking for petroleum stopped. They stopped. Say, ate petrol tukyanoonya yaki kubanga petroleum bagenda kugiwera mu nsi yonna. Petroleum will be phased out, will be banished. Now, because no more exploration for oil and gas, the little gas, now katumula bana Uganda laba ekiri ku bazungu. Mulabe ekiri ku bazungu. Ensi zonna z'abazungu kati ziri mu murro. Spain, France, Portugal, United States, UK. Buli muntu yena kikyasiga kikyakungula. So, because of the fear, trying to okwebika obudde bukedde, to trying okweshuka obudde bwasesere, to cover yourself when it is already morning, they now say we phase out petroleum for cars in the next, I don't remember what they said, was it how many years? They said something about these fellows can give you more details. The Wadimusis, the timetable which they put. Now, because of that, no more exploration. Now, because of no more exploration, the petroleum which is there now started becoming very expensive. Even before the war in Ukraine, petroleum price had gone to $80 a barrel. And it is not likely to go down because of this fear. Of this fear that petrol agenda, therefore petroleum will be phased out, therefore we don't have to look for new fields, therefore we only remain with the old amount of the reserves. It's good for us because we have also got some petroleum here. When it starts coming out, we are going to get quite a lot of money. But for now, it is a problem. Now, Uganda wagambira nti tuba tukyali awo when we were still dealing with the problem of the war for the phase out. The war starts in Ukraine. Russia is one of the big producers of oil. Now the Europeans, in their wars with Russia, they say, we embargo Russian oil. So the price really went up. From 80, where it was, dollars per barrel, it's now 100. At one time it got to 116 or something like that, a barrel. So for one of Uganda, bwe tulaba ebbeeyi y'amafuta erinye bweti eyo y'ensibuko y'ekizibu. Okusooka wadde olutalo terwaliwo naye ku lw'okweraliikirira nti amafuta bagenda kugawera mu nsi yonna mu myaka oba meka bano balina okubategeeza emyaka gye bateekako. Abaali banoonya amafuta bayimirira, tekisigala ku mafuta gali amatono agaliwo nagafe mwegali. Kati y'ensonga ebbeeyi y'amafuta ago amatono agaliwo okulinnya. Obuseere oba mu Luganda oba Abaganda ekigambo kye bakirina, obuseere, okuseera.
Obuseere bw'amafuta.
Obuseere mwekiri?
Yes.
Kiringa Olunyankole. Nolwekyo obuseere obwo buva mu kweraliikirira nti kubanga tewaliwo akyanoonya amafuta amapya ag'omutaka. Gano amatono agaliwo galinnya ebbeeyi. Nagaffe mwegali, naffe tugenda ganywamu. Naye kati olutalo bwe luzze, ate bano abazungu abavuganya n'Abarwasa ne bazira amafuta g'Abarussia, ate ne baagala naffe tuzire. Ono azize ate nange atali mu lutalo nange nzire. Ekintu ekyo tukyasirise, tetunakyogerako nnyo. Kati y'ensonga ebbeeyi amafuta okulinnya waggulu. Now, some people, then it's not only petroleum, even other products like wheat, which was coming from Ukraine mainly and Russia, apparently. Then fertilizer, mainly from Russia. Now, earlier on, Corona, because of Corona, we had a problem of palm oil, of vegetable oil from Indonesia and Malaysia. When Corona was disturbing the world, the hotels closed, the schools closed, and because of that, apparently, less soap was being used because the hotels were closed, so they don't use soap. The schools are closed, the institutions are closed, so people were using apparently much less soap when they are in their homes. Now, the people who produce who are producing palm oil, who produce palm oil in Malaysia and in Indonesia, I think had to either produce less oil or they diverted their oil to other things. I think they started getting petrol, because you can get petrol out of oil, of that oil. Because the hotels were no longer buying, I think they diverted their oil. So when the economy of the world opened, the other people had withdrawn from the market. Bali abali batuguza amafuta g'ebinazi bali bavudde mu kaweefube. owokutuguza amafuta ndowooza bali batandise okugakozesa ebirala okukola nga okugyamu petrol eyokuvuga emmotoka. So that shortage was also there, the one of soap. Now, with all these problems, then people started having different ideas, the usual ideas, simple ideas. You remember the other time I told you about Omuhanda Ligendwa, the big route in the Bible. It talks of the big route, the big highway, which will lead you to Gehenna, or the narrow path, which will lead you to salvation. NRM always takes the narrow path. Because when Amin came, the big highway was that we should support Amin. For us, we said, no. Akakuba akafunda. Akahanda akafunzire. The narrow path of difficulties of what? Is the one which will lead to salvation. The same with 1981 when we had to fight Museveni. When this corona came, again we took the narrow path. Some of the other people were taking the big highway. We should have rallies, we should have a minimum. Some were, even religious people, I couldn't believe it. Even some of the religious people said God was only in the church. That was against my, because when I, in 1957, when I had to reaffirm my Christianity by studying for the confirmation, I was told that no, God is omnipresent. That's what I was told. Now some people are saying God is only in the church. If we don't go to a building, there's no, oh, please. So you remember we had really to argue with all these groups. That's how we were able to avoid a catastrophe. Now with this one again, with the high prices of fuel, shortage and high prices of palm oil, shortage and high prices of fertilizer, shortage of something else. Then ideas started coming. Cut taxes on these products. Subsidize. But do you know that there's a difference between obusere nebula lyebintu? Obusere. There's a difference between high prices for commodities and the shortage of commodities. Commodities are not there. So, which is better? Ebola or obusere? Of course, what would be best would be ekyengera n'ebbeeyi entono. plenty and low prices. But if you are in this situation where you see Europe is burning, you saw what was happening there. Europe is on fire. Europe, America, they're on fire. The war, but even without the war, the mismanagement of nature, omwekanonkano, omweringanizo, okwagala kwefula nga Katonda, was already causing a big problem. The war has just added, the war of Ukraine. So in this situation, the biggest problem the biggest danger you have, you can no longer have a chengera now. Plenty. You can no longer have plenty. To think that you can have plenty in this type of situation is what the Banyankole say. A man who was told that the house is on fire, and then he said, "You prepare the bed for me to sleep." Sleep where? The house is on fire. So, nzomuyekera bwe ndaba embeera ng'eno awo engambira nti wano wafiira muloge, that we must migrate and do something else, not subsidize this danger. Because when you subsidize, people will continue buying more and more and more and more, because they will not see you will create an artificial comfort to the people, for them to think that things are normal when they are not normal, and you do that by bleeding yourself. Akasente kobadde oterese, kobadde oterekedde abaana kudda mu ssomero, kati okajjeyo n'oyongera ku transport, yugenda mu town. So you are now going to encroach on your reserves, because we have got foreign reserves. Our reserves have been good. In the past, it used to be about $3 billion, but now they are more than $4 billion. Now, if you subsidize, first of all, you mislead people. People think that things are normal. And they don't kekereza, they don't economize, they don't kekereza. And you now start depleting your foreign reserves. And if you don't control that situation, you can now go from Obusere to Ebola. When you no longer have the, like what happened in Sri Lanka. You saw that country, Sri Lanka, is a fairly well-developed country. But because of those mistakes, they don't even have money to import. So, Obusere in Sri Lanka have become Ebola. Total. They can't buy anything. Why? Because the foreign currency is finished. Why? Because they were not careful. So therefore, the mistake of subsidies and tax cuts are two. First, you mislead the people. They don't know that the situation is bad, and they need to economize. They go on using as if things are normal. Then, in the end, you may transform obusere high prices into Ebola, total shortage. That's one mistake, one consequence, one negative consequence that can come from that. But the other one, like the one of cutting taxes, because these taxes are in order to develop. The taxes are in order to develop. We want to make new roads. We want to make new products, new projects. Now, instead of, now because of that, those projects are stopped. The money is put in cham, just eating, okulia, okuvuga, motoka, abagenda wano, abagenda wali. The tarmac road from Rusarira to Kabamba to Konge to Ntuchi, Shrubbery, tugireke esente tuziteke mu kukwatirako abagala kugula more petrol, abagala kugula petrol yokuvuga emotoka. That's not a correct way. So what is my answer? Especially because in all this, on the side of palm oil, we had started, but it was because of empaka, because of people who always interfere with us, that we had not become totally self-sufficient in palm oil. But we started with the Karangara project, and we had long planned for Buvuma, for Sangobe, but because of the Mpaka, because of Okuskanga no Mugwa, struggling, people opposing what is good, this situation found us halfway. But we are now moving, and I can ask these people to show you the palm oil on, for instance, in Maruzi Ranch, to Lage, if it is there, show us. Of the money being put into subsidizing the present mistake, because this is a mistake. We are in a situation of mistake of that is Karangara. We are now in a situation of mistake. Now to spend our money there on ebinatera okuvaawo, things which will no longer be there in 20 years' time. We would rather put the money to go to a new way, a safer way. That is for, therefore, we are building more capacity for our own Buto, Yebenazi, Sango Bay, Buvuma. We are going to be not only self-sufficient, but even some people are growing a lot of sunflower and other seeds and other oil seeds. So that is our answer. More of that. On the issue of the fertilizers, our project in Sukulu Hill, Tororo, will answer, and also the Lekarbat, the gas, the nitrogen, will solve that problem of fertilizers. And then the other big problem now, so that one now leaves fuel. Now this fuel, petroleum, even when the war in Ukraine ends, is likely to remain high. Even our own petrol, when we start getting it here, we cannot sell it cheaper than the world price. We shall have to sell it at the price of the world price minus the transport costs, because this one will be near here. So it will be a bit cheaper because of removing the transport costs, but it will still be higher than it was in the past. So the correct way is to start moving away from petrol to electric cars. And we have already started. And the railway, because there are two ways you get from petrol. That is our car. That is Chira bus, made here in Uganda. That bus there is electric. We had planned this not because of oil prices, no. we had planned it because we want to modernize Uganda. But fortunately now, when this problem comes up, this is the solution we should go for. These buses are already made here. The engineers have told me they need 20 billion to make more buses, 20 billion shillings to make more. They have already made those ones, you see them. That one is now being used to transport CAA staff, civil aviation staff. Now, before I came here, I spoke to engineer Paul Musasizi, one of the designers of that bus. He told me that before the oil crisis, before this crisis we are talking about, they had made the Chibaro, the comparison. That for this bus here, this electric bus, it uses Uganda shillings 360 per kilometer. The other one, the one of diesel, was using 1,600 shillings per kilometer. 5 times more expensive than this one. Before the oil, so they have not made the calculation now with the oil you have said. So the correct way, if we have money, instead of spending it on subsidizing mistakes, we would rather use it to get out of the mistakes. wano wafiira muloge tusenguke tugende awasinga obulungi ate awanaabeerawo olubeerera, because electric that's what I hear. So that is for the bus, but we need now also to deal with the other ones. I will tell Marimusi to bring these engineers here on the TV, and they explain to you what do we do with the trucks, with the motorcycles. So this is for the buses. So therefore, this pressure to spend whatever little money we have on subsidizing problems, would rather, if that money is there, would rather use it to get out of the problems permanently. Engano, the other thing is the Engano. The answer for the Engano, I have not. If Engano can be grown in flat areas, you can grow it for those who want Engano, the wheat. You can grow it also. They were growing it in Kapchorwa, but the land there was not enough. But for Engano, we have got alternatives. Me, I don't eat bread. I have not eaten bread for a long time. My meal is muhogo, gonja, etoke, empogora, akaro. That's why I'm going to be 78 very soon. But if you want football here, you will see how we can sort it out. So for the Engano, I think there are alternatives. But banana flour, the one of Dr. Muranga. Now on the foods, apart from the climate change, which affected fuel, then the war, which made it worse, and then the fuel is the one which goes into all other products, because we are transporting matoke using petrol or diesel. We are transporting, so you find matoke also becomes expensive because the carrier is expensive. That's why the medium and long-term answer is electric car and the trains, using the trains. We are now repairing the meter gauge from Tororo to here, the old railway. Once that one is operating, it can be used, even the one of Gulu. Once people get tired with the expensive diesel or petrol, they will shift to the train. Unfortunately, the train for Pakwach, Gulu, all the way to Tororo is there. They are repairing it. The one from Tororo to here is there. They are repairing it. So it's better we put emphasis on that, so that we start using the train for cargo. For cargo, even passengers. so that we spend less on this expensive. The only long-term problem will be Kasese, because the line was vandalized. We shall have to build a totally new one there. Now, on top of the climate change, which causes the original problem of oil being expensive, the war in Ukraine, now we have been having a problem of bad weather here in Uganda. The rain was not so good. So some of the harvests, like the maize, we had hit about 5 million tons, but I think this season we may end up with about 3 million tons. So the rain was not reliable. Now, the answer there are three. Number one, the PDM, the Parish Development Model. That one is for the smaller people with smaller pieces of land. The ones whom we want to use intensive agriculture. And for them, they would do 7 activities. Coffee, 1 acre. Fruits, 1 acre, if you have what we call the 4 acres model. Fruits, 1 acre. Dairy, pasture for dairy, 1 acre. 1 acre for food crops. Then in the backyard, poultry. In the backyard, piggery. And if he's near a valley, we can make a fish pond, he makes a fish pond. These are the activities that this is the medicine for the man of 4 acres or less. But Uganda needs the other crops also. We need maize. We need cotton. We need bananas. We need ranches, cows, indigenous cows which are not directed for dairy. We need sugar cane for sugar, avocado. So that's why agriculture now has got an ambitious plan. Finally, they have listened to my advice. Because my advice was, PDM is for the smaller people, the ones of 4 acres and less, to use their smaller land to get maximum returns. But you cannot do poultry without maize, which is from which we get animal feed. So who will grow the maize? Because the maize is not very profitable if you grow it on a small scale. It only makes money when you do it on a big scale. So, I've been talking for a long time. You people, you get the rich farmers, the big farmers. Even me, I can grow maize for you if you want. But we need to be organized. Now, agriculture finally has come out. I saw a document the other day that they are going to mobilize prisons, mobilize the army, NEC. Prisons is already producing on a big scale, but they can do more. I don't know whether there are some figures. Where are the other documents? I'll read it here. It is here. The prisons is already was already doing something. They are going to do now much more. And then the big farmers. So, and then this will use now irrigation, not just producing maize and these big crops which are not for the PDM. The PDM, they can even use handheld irrigation because the land is small. Instead of the crops dry, you can go to the garden and you get water and you irrigate. I did it in Kaumu. I used the can, because the land is not big. But for the big land, you need more organized irrigation. So we already have we already have 9,000 hectares irrigated. Waderai, 400 hectares. Mobuku 1, Mobuku 2, Kasese, 2,000 hectares. Mwenge, Kwen, 880 hectares. Doho Butareja, 384 hectares. Rwengaju, Kawarore, 152 hectares. Agoro, Kitgum, 600 hectares. Olwenyi, Lira, 1,016 hectares. Tochi, Oyam, 550 hectares. Achomai, Bukedia, 2,584 hectares. Atarai, Kwen, 680 hectares. But this is now for the area irrigation. But we are also promoting aggressively micro irrigation. Like me on my lands, my daughter who is in charge there, Diana, she has already put solar powered pumps and she's watering the cows using those solar powered pumps. That same system can also be used for irrigation. You can pump water using solar pump up to a high ground and then you irrigate. So the rich farmers are going to be helped to do that on their own, not to wait for these centrally controlled government programs, irrigation schemes. And I can see here the minister was proposing Uganda prisons is currently cultivating 9,000 acres. They are going to but they are going to upgrade to 20,000 acres of production. The National Enterprise Corporation will do 2 square miles. Narrow will do 3,000 square miles. Then big farmers in northern Uganda will do 100,000 acres. So you are going to have almost 200,000 acres of large-scale production This did not include the sugar groups. They were talking about maize and so on, but if the sugar were not included. So we are really gearing up to produce not only on the small scale by the PDM, massively, partial development model, but also the big scale farmers now with irrigation So therefore, this is the way forward. Instead of saying that we should spend money on these existing problems, we should survive there by kukekereza, then we migrate to better solutions. Now, finally, ebigambo bisatu: obulimba, obunyunyusi, obutalengera. 3 words: lies, parasitism, and not seeing far, not having vision. We had a big argument about producing roasted coffee, ground coffee, and package it packed here in Uganda. There were debates in Parliament which were people were just telling lies. And those who are telling lies are the Banyunyusi, the parasites. At Kololo, I think I was talking to the State of the Nation address or something. I pointed out the coffee business in the world is now bringing in $460 billion. $460 billion. The coffee producing countries in the world, the whole world, which are in Asia, Vietnam, Africa, like Uganda. Uganda is the biggest in Africa, and South America. Out of the 460 billion, they take away only $27 billion. The remaining more than 500 billion, 440 billion, 430 billion is taken by the developed countries. This is not acceptable. And Africa, of the 460 billion, Africa takes 2.5 billion. How can this be? And the answer is very simple. I told my children who live in London to buy for me these products in London. I want to know how many. This is 227 grams. What is the price? Where are the prices? Huh? Anyway, the prices are not clear here. This is from Kenya. This one is how many? 227 grams also. They are 227 grams. Now, when you sell our good coffee here, what they call screen 18, these are from supermarkets in London, these ones here. You can find out how much each one costs, each of these. But what I checked was that when you take 1 kilo of cassia, of the coffee where you have removed the husks, when you roast it, it shrinks, becomes 700 grams. Is it 1,000 grams at the kilo? So it is 1,000 grams. When you roast it, it becomes 700. Now, you can go and check this. This 227 grams, how much does it cost in the supermarket in London? So that means out of our 1 kilo, you can get 2.5 of these, because it would have shrunk to 700 grams, and this is 227. So 2 of them are like 500, and then almost three of these from our 1 kilo. Now you check how much this package is costing. But when I checked, it was here our people are being paid $3 for the very good coffee, the screen 18, $3. When you do this conversion from bean to this one, it becomes about $30. Comes like $30. I can't read them properly here, but they are here. You can go. The prices, I want to know where the prices are. They have the quantities here. So, how can people accept this? And before I came here, I checked with some of the coffee growers. Who is against value addition? They told me that we don't know. It is the middlemen. It is the exporters. The exporters who want to export our unprocessed coffee. So that they give us the $3 for the very good coffee, the screen 18. The other one they give us, I think, $1 and something. Then for them they go and process in Europe and get $30, where we got only $3 or less. The coffee farmers have told me that we don't know. We're not part of that. We're not part of that. So you want to give me some information? Let me see. Okay, you can check. Oh, okay. You come and pick the ones you want. But they will check them, and but Barimos will. Barimos will. But what I checked was for the kilo, for which we get $3 of the good coffee, a clever person gets $30. And this is what I cannot accept. So, those who are telling lies, I'm now here. I'm going to answer you. Obulimba, Obunyunyusi, obutalengera. So with these few words, I think everything has been covered. This is the bus, the electric bus. This is the answer. Buses, electric motorcycles, instead of is at the bottom of the bottle. The bottle here. This is $5. This is $5. Now, what is the weight here? $200 grams. This is 200 grams. 200 grams. $5. And our kilo was $3. Our kilo. And here you have got 200 grams out of 700. That is so. This would be like $18 or so. The 700 grams would get you $18 from the kilo, where we got $3. It goes up 6 times. So even if you have to remove transport from here to Europe, the difference can't be so much. Can't be so much. So this is we have now increased the production of coffee to 8 million bags, and we are getting only $800 million. Somebody told me that Switzerland is getting like 2 billion from coffee, which they don't grow. They just process. They just roast ours. So I thank everybody for today. I'll come back for more discussion. Thank you very much.
Sending love to my motherland, a beautiful place in Africa. They love like a family, but please don't step out our toes now. We are the elephants. Oh yes, I know we can. Kariyoba, karichora, warareteku, koribadiji, korwani, dondong reteku. Kariyoba, karichora, warareteku, koribadiji, korwani, dondong reteku. Sending love to my motherland, a beautiful place in Africa. They love like a family, but please don't step out our toes now. We are the elephants. Oh yes, I know we can. Kariyoba, karichora, warareteku, koribadiji, korwani, dondong reteku. Kariyoba, karichora, warareteku, koribadiji, korwani, dondong reteku.
Well, for you total, for my tech, Piberu Kedwa Nchake Iachake, Okere, or Kumbiti Inini, Lok maladiro lok mabejo. Ana mako manok ma tamni enuni ena pol dano biyo mo chungi tutwal loko gere lok mabejo chalo jem mano mir Uganda chak timone chalo gendong pegu bet ka jenge tutwal kom jemi mogo mano ki wako chalo mo gi enini tamni dano mire gunen mabe jemu loka engoni oliweng la dito chako lok kilok kom corona ma loko gere o beomi update ki cases mogo metuo matiki en pain chale ikaber mogo chalo mulago ki enoni omiyo gera okar ke kar ma ka ngat magwako nyopo neno iromo dak ya chake me video enini chi ineno gi okar ke kare now kadong an koni awaju gen mado yo muchunya ki ie loyo ene obero lok me neno ni guer lutino makibi guer gi kigang kwani pien ena wachini lutino ko bidi bene tuo do chako yelo lutino matino mukene bedo chako to ki ie entro gin mado yo muchunya ie loyo ene ni o wachini guer lutino makibi guer gili enoni kibi guer ne entro no lunyori gi kong ki penyu tam gi ie ana tam ni gen mado capturing ira loyo weng kane ki peny an eno beru gin enoni chingeo beru la nyori yoto twal jemu kene beru twal ka la nyori o mio tama mega bene ye si atam ni la ditu lok ma beru twal in magwa ko nyoy nen wai ya chakne o kero wa kombiri ni ana mette ana fo into twal kuno awajoni opoyo pe chwakwa kara diju meber ka neno jemi mano wano kelo botu waneno omera chel monica enye Geoffrey Ogwal o wachini great thank you waneno bene ngara chel ka en manye Namirembe Grace wachini live thank you so much then Pride Africa TV o wachini Lakwed TV chutimu mere chie kamane ken thank you so much okay aneno bene aparo penina o wachini live from Namugongo for matek for nenwa one wabi make dak wadiri kuno pektie ni abeberu kingarachel man ngat mo yuek i program ma chengi anarwata ki dano ichi angwen jabiet mukate waberu wan ki Jennifer Lawala digini ko bi ko ngarmoni ngato beberu diet aneno ka enini Harrieta Chengol Harrieta this name but I know the real name but I think in the law Gemino Daret Italiano Nanchalo yes I was like I'm also here thanks uncle oh more like I'm a peer tech to 12 yes for Temakija Duana ne money till a kirmoni Kenya. I like to by the way one job na ponge koma berliet ni chake dong piniano mon mukarangej mananak erto kore palieji peri ngam ka temeti mananak si noti malo man ene kita jemne temekere ka ini bene wateki Rashid Ismail mawachini the price of fuel Jal the price of fuel ba wa gineni pu cher kamo la dito wachini we cannot sell below the market even if we produce now it's going to be very, very, very challenging. All right, kidong gen mo ker mo wajo pe ni kiri ka chenen lwenyi gware bichu bigire. It's just not going to affect the price of fuel. That is it anyway. Yes, Lakwed watching use that one. Use that one. Okay, fine. I like this one. Okay. I like this one. Thank you. All right. Welcome back. We thank God you're okay. Yeah. Yeah. Kiri duana ne puru winyo on jele kirma Kenya. Eto obed machunyo tek pober corona. It was just simple malaria. Mama atiga goya kero dong kobede enini. Yes. In magwari winyo lok maladito wajo. What really touched you that much? Rashid, why need the price of fuel? Yeah, some of us are properly walking now. We do a lot of walking. Actually, it's a good practice also. It's a room for us to also start, establish our health. No, it's my exercise. So. So what is it that you could share with me here before I leave? Because I'm almost just in a few minutes I'll be stepping out. Where do you think I'm going? I am going somewhere here. I'm going somewhere here. Let me show you. All right, I'm going to be here. If you can see this link on the screen that I've just put, that is where I'm going to be live from this television to another television. So funny, I know. Yeah, it doesn't work on this national televisions. You cannot jump from one to another. Yeah, this is the beauty of being a blogger. You're a little bit independent and you can be flexible. Always very dynamic. So that link, if you can go there, first, I'll find you there. Trust me, I will find you there. That is Lakwed TV. You can be watching. They're talking about environment for today, and it's very, very important. You need to know your environment. You need to understand. You need to know how to deal with some of these things. So, guys, thank you so much for watching Museveni talking. I did bedong throw what you want Chuck 78. I think Pangyo ki come, but I always hear that she Pangyo erodong ologeredong did mawa mero fall back erbe okono man ene kirmati kero jana wera fu wera chepto kuja pian tama bena oloto obe mieta kamani kachani ana foi metek ka won mado mero lokara mero wingo mabe waju kuja link en ma ana chwalo en ma ineno kenyo Lakwed TV ni timbe ichere iluwe were inena kunu manno Lakwed TV ma watiga log ma environment watidong chichar ya gikne kono ento pierre tek be furi bi winyu kam kene ma daran tiga log ma dolo ne ye de jakamalo jemi ma met peri tutwal si wera tieta wanen Sending love to my motherland, a beautiful place in Africa. They love like a family, but please don't step out our toes now. We are the elephants. Oh yes, I know we can. Karichora, Karichora,